Welcome, traveler time. You've entered a realm where kings rise, empires fall, and every crown carries a curse. Today, we journey through the life of one of history's most fascinating monarchs, where love, power, and destiny intertwine. It was the year 1028, and Normandy lay restless beneath the northern winds. In the small town of Falaise, a boy was born under scandal and prophecy. William, son of Robert the Magnificent, Duke of Normandy, and Herleva, the daughter of Tanner. The nobles called him William the Bastard, for he was born without royal marriage. But even then, whispers spoke of a child touched by destiny. Normandy was a land forged by Viking steel and Norman ambition, a realm where loyalty was as fragile as glass. When William's father left on pilgrimage to Jerusalem, he entrusted the duchy to his 8-year-old son. Robert never returned. The boy became duke, a child in a den of wolves. For years, Normandy bled. Nobles rebelled, castles burned, and assassins crept through the shadows. William escaped murder more than once, his guardian slain before his eyes. Yet he endured. He learned patience, a weapon as deadly as any sword. By 15, William commanded men twice his age. His cold gaze, sharp as winter frost, could silence any room. When enemies rose, he crushed them. When allies wavered, he made examples of them. Normandy's chaos had forged a ruler of iron, and the boy once mocked as bastard became the master of men who once scorned him. But destiny was not yet done. In the court of Flanders, William met Matilda, daughter of Count Baldwin. Proud, intelligent, and noble, she refused his proposal, declaring she would not marry a bastard. William's response was as violent as it was passionate. He stormed her father's castle, dragged her to the ground, and swore she would be his wife. Whether the tale is myth or truth, the outcome was undeniable. Matilda married William, and together they forged a union of fire and steel. Across the narrow sea, the kingdom of England teetered on the edge of uncertainty. King Edward the Confessor, pious yet childless, ruled a land divided by powerful earls. Edward had long ties to Normandy. He had lived there in exile, protected by William's father. Whispers spread that the old king had promised the English crown to William, Duke of Normandy. To secure that claim, William needed witnesses. In 1064, Harold Godwin's son, England's most powerful noble, was shipwrecked on the Norman coast. William welcomed him with warmth, entertained him with grandeur, and demanded an oath. Before holy relics, Harold swore to support William's right to the English throne. It was a sacred vow, one no man could break without inviting God's wrath. 2 years later, Edward the Confessor died. On January 6, 1066, Harold seized the crown and declared himself king. When news reached Normandy, William's fury could not be contained. To him, this was not merely betrayal, it was blasphemy. The Duke gathered his council. "Harold has stolen my crown and broken his oath before God," he declared. The church would side with William. The Pope himself granted him a holy banner, transforming his invasion into divine mission. That summer, Normandy buzzed with preparation. Blacksmiths forged new blades, shipwrights built fleets, and priests blessed the banners of war. The channel would soon run red with destiny. On September 27th, William's fleet set sail. By dawn the next day, his army landed at Pevensey. Horses, knights, archers, and the dreams of empire. England awaited, weary, divided, unaware that its fate had already been sealed. October 14th, 1066. The mist lifted over the fields near Hastings. On one side stood Harold's English army, a wall of shields, their axes gleaming in the morning light. On the other, William's Norman host, cavalry, archers, and faith. The Conqueror rode among his men, his voice steady and fierce. "Fight for victory! Fight for God! Fight for your Duke!" The air trembled with war cries as arrows flew. The first Norman assault failed. The Saxons held the high ground, their shield wall unbroken. Panic spread when rumors claimed William was dead. until he ripped off his helmet and shouted, "I live, and by God's will, we shall conquer." He rallied his men and devised a plan. William ordered a feigned retreat. The Saxons, believing the Normans were fleeing, broke formation to chase. At that instant, William's cavalry wheeled around and cut them down. Chaos swallowed the hill. Then came the arrow that changed history, a shaft that struck King Harold through the eye. The English line wavered, broke, and collapsed. As the sun set, William stood upon the field of corpses. He had done the impossible. The bastard of Normandy had become William the Conqueror. But England was not yet his. It had to be taken piece by bloody piece. Christmas Day, 1066. Westminster Abbey. William knelt before the altar, the scent of incense thick in the air. As the archbishop placed the crown upon his head, chaos erupted outside. Norman guards, thinking rebellion had begun, set fire to nearby homes. The abbey filled with smoke as William rose, crowned King of England amid fire and screams. It was an omen he would never escape. William ruled with ruthless precision. He replaced Anglo-Saxon nobles with Norman lords, built stone castles to crush rebellion, and imposed his language, his law, his will. Wherever resistance sparked, it was drowned in blood. The harrying of the North remains infamous. Entire villages burned, crops destroyed, and thousands starved. To William, mercy was weakness. To the English, he was a tyrant. Yet beneath his brutality lay order. He introduced the system of feudalism, every man bound to him by land and oath. He ordered the Doomsday Book, a survey of every field, every ox, every soul in England, proof of his absolute control. "Let no man hide what he owns," he declared, "for all of it belongs to me." Through fear, he built stability. Through control, he forged a kingdom that would outlive him. The Conqueror had become a builder, a paradox of cruelty and genius. Power, like flame, consumes those who grasp it too tightly. William, once unstoppable, now faced enemies within his own blood. His eldest son, Robert Curthose, demanded Normandy as his inheritance. When William refused, Robert rebelled. Father and son fought openly, their armies clashing beneath banners that once flew side by side. Matilda, the queen who had matched William's spirit, tried to reconcile them. But even she could not mend what ambition had broken. When Matilda died in 1083, something within William withered. He grew heavier, slower, haunted by memories of blood. He had conquered England and subdued Normandy, yet peace eluded him. The fire that had fueled his rise now devoured him from within. By 1087, France called him to war once more. While attacking the town of Mantes, his horse stumbled, crushing him against the saddle. Mortally wounded, he was carried to Rouen. There, in the flickering candlelight, the great conqueror faced his final battle. Against time, against guilt, against himself. He confessed his sins, returned stolen lands to the church, and begged forgiveness for his cruelty. The man who once ruled two realms now ruled only silence. On September 9th, 1087, William the Conqueror, the bastard of Normandy, the scourge of England, the maker of kings, died. His death was not glorious. As monks prepared his body, it swelled from injury. When they forced it into the coffin, the corpse burst, filling the cathedral with a foul stench. Nobles fled, leaving only a few to bury him. The conqueror who had bent kingdoms to his will was laid to rest in chaos and shame. Yet time has a strange mercy. The stench faded, but his legacy endured. William's conquest reshaped England forever, in its castles, language, and laws. French words merged with Anglo-Saxon tongues. Norman castles dotted the land, symbols of both power and fear. He changed how kings ruled, not by birthright, but by dominance. He forged a centralized monarchy where land was power, loyalty was currency, and rebellion meant death. His bloodline would rule England for centuries, its echo heard in every monarch that followed. From bastard to conqueror, from chaos to crown. William's story is the very essence of the medieval age, a world where faith and fire, cruelty and creation walk hand in hand. History remembers him not as saint nor villain, but as both, a man who built a nation upon the bones of another. And so his legend endures, carved into the stones of Dover Castle, whispered in the pages of the Doomsday Book, and carried across the centuries in one eternal truth. Power demands a price. If you've enjoyed this journey through the life of William the Conqueror, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again as we uncover more tales of kings, battles, and the shadows that shaped our world.